Welcome to The Hot Slice, a podcast brought to you by Pizza Today magazine. I'm Senior Editor Kate Lavin, and I'm joined by Editor-in-Chief Denise Greer. Hello, Denise.
Hello, Kate. So we're getting back in the flow of doing interviews on our screen, seeing you after doing all the interviews at Pizza Expo. So it's exciting to be back in our studio of sorts.
That's right.
Oh, and man, what a time at Pizza Expo. I just, all the people we met, I know you saw their interviews, and it's just great people, met so many great people.
From all over the place. It was just fantastic.
Absolutely. So we're jumping at, so our first guest after the Pizza Expo sessions is we're talking to Gabriel Baldinucci from Baldinucci's Pizza Romana there in Austin, Texas. And I'm going to tell you how I found. So I do this thing where I do a lot of searching. I do a lot of Google searches daily so that I don't miss any news from pizzerias. So as pizzerias are sharing their news with their local outlets, I'm learning about them usually because I'm trying to stay up to date on fun things happening in local pizzerias. So Gabriel was interviewed for an article that was talking about the pizzeria getting into doing Italian culinary tours. And that is an amazing, like I thought it was just such a fun thing for a pizzeria to do, especially, a pizzeria with strong Italian ties, that's doing an Italian style, to have an experience for their customers that is so, I don't know, experiential. Yeah, to be able to really experience Italy, and not just for those that go on the tour, but for those that get to see what's happening with this tour. I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely. It was really fun to hear about how they decided where they wanted to go, how he partnered up with some local people in Austin to help arrange this trip, and they're going to
Mhm.
bring customers along for the ride.
I love it. And it's not just customers. They're looking at, down the road doing some employee appreciation, doing some special things with their loyalty program. Like he's got a full plan with it. And I think it's just a really neat thing to tie like the origin of your style back
Mhm.
to Italy, So, if you've got an Italian pizzeria, like this is it's just a fun way to bring your customers along for the ride. And it's not just the customers, the founders are going.
Right.
And so they want it to be this small, engaging thing where it's like a nice group going and doing this Italian experience. So it's really fun. I'm gonna let Gabriel tell more about it. But we also talk about the Roman pizza style. So pizza al taglio, and and we talk about it on the podcast a little. It's definitely having a moment. And Roman, I'm telling you, Roman is here to stay. It's such a great style of pizza.
A Romanescence.
A Roman, you may be battling John Gudikantz for a headline for that.
Oh no, I could never. I could never. He's too good.
I know he is really good, but that was a really good headline that you just pulled out.
Thank you.
We need to write it down so we can use it in the future. I love
Good
it.
call.
All right, so let's just jump into our conversation with Gabriel.
Are you looking for smarter ways to improve consistency, efficiency, and bake quality in your pizza operation? Spokane Valley, Washington-based Lloyd Pans is the trusted name for commercial pizzerias and home chefs alike. For over 40 years, Lloyd Pans has been creating innovative pizza pans and tools designed to deliver perfect results every time. Whether it's crispy golden pizza crusts or perfectly baked pastries, Lloyd Pan's durable, stick-resistant, and proprietary pan finishes are a game changer. Going beyond pizza? Visit lloydpans.com to explore our lineup of food service and bakeware pans and accessories. Need shipping quotes or custom products? Email sales@lloydpans.com for personalized service. Are you looking to get your brand in front of passionate pizza pros? Well, you've come to the right place. The Hot Slice podcast brought to you by Pizza Today. We're all about everything pizza business. Each week, we dive into fun conversations about trends, tasty tips, and insider stories from the pizza world. Our listeners are engaged and eager to discover what's new and improve their craft with help from brands like you. Imagine your brand reaching pizzeria owners and pizza enthusiasts while they enjoy our laid-back chats. It's a perfect match. Whether you're selling equipment, ingredients, or anything that makes pizza better, our ad spots are designed to connect you with the right audience. So if you're ready to slice into something special, reach out to us about advertising on the Hot Slice podcast. Let's share the love of pizza together.
All right. Gabriel, welcome to the podcast. Thanks so much for coming on with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I saw some really interesting news about your pizzeria and the cool thing you're doing. And so I had to bring you onto the podcast to talk about it because I sent it to Kate and I'm like, Kate, this is really fun. This is really interesting. So tell us what you're doing with your pizzeria because it is so fun.
Yeah, well, we started Baldinucci Pizza Romana a couple of years ago to try to bring really authentic Italian pizza that a lot of people hadn't known about yet, Roman-style pizza al taglio. The pizza scene has been dominated by the 12-inch Neapolitan brick oven pizza for the last 10 to 15 years now. I mean, New York's kind of been there, but this was a pizza that is really exciting. It's light, it's airy, it's fluffy, but you can still put lots of different toppings on it because it's strong. And we created this incredible experience that we've just gotten a wonderful reception. And I don't know when the idea came up, but the idea was to really go one step further and take our customers to Italy and actually
love that.
On a luxury culinary food tour. It was probably somewhere I was just planning the trip for ourselves, to be honest. Yeah, I've wanted to do culinary food tours of Italy for a while. And then somehow it just kind of got merged into our business here. And it's probably because I think a lot of our customers would love that. They come to us because they like the authentic experience. A lot of our customers will come back after having traveled to Italy on a vacation. And so somewhere along, it just seemed kind of natural, to be honest. When people come in, they say, when I come here, I feel like I'm on a little tiny mini trip to Italy. And so our brand is about that authenticity. And this is a way to take it to the next step.
I love it. So tell me, what is this and what are you doing first and just kind of how in the world did you get the logistics involved to be able to make this thing a reality?
Well, there was a little bit of fortuity in that. So along the way, I befriended a professor at UT in the business school, and he wound up he has me as a kind of guest lecturer in his business classes at UT, which I've been doing for the last few years, and I enjoy. He has an entrepreneurship class, international marketing class, but he grew up in Rome, and his name is Professor Alessandro Gabi. He grew up in Rome, and somewhere along the way, he and his son Nico started organizing tours over the summer in Italy, small group tours, looking at history, key sites, going behind the scenes. So they had set up this travel business called Aventine Hill. And so they had a lot of relationships over there. They had the infrastructure set up to give a tour. And one day we were having lunch in the pizza place, and I said, Alessandro, I've had this idea for a while to do food tours in Italy. Why don't we team up? You can do all the logistics, and then we'll create a bespoke one around the restaurants and the vineyards and the dairies and the markets and the street food. And he was into it. They both were. And because they're a father-son team and we're a family business, we were already friends. Culturally, we were very aligned. None of the places that we're going to visit are owned by outside entities. They're all owned by Italian families. And so they had similar values and a similar way they think about their business. And so it's really easy for us to plan this together. And that's how we were able to do it.
That's great. How did you decide where you wanted to visit?
That was actually a really tough decision.
I bet.
Yeah, because you've got obviously the Campania region with Naples and Sorrento. Then you've got Tuscany, of course, right, with the steak and the vineyards and the Chianti. Emilia-Romagna, Italy's food valley, we kind of felt like it is called Italy's food valley, and it's the home of Parmigiano Reggiano and balsamic vinegar and Modena and these stuffed pastas. And Bologna is an incredible food capital. Mortadella, for example.
Oh, yeah.
There's truffles there. We're going to go truffle hunting. Most of the truffles happen up in Piemonte and Piedmont. We're going to go there too. But it was just such a combination of great experiences between Bologna, Modena, the vineyards that are up there. Obviously, we threw in a little bit of Ferrari visit to the Ferrari headquarters, which isn't food, but always makes a tour more fun. And we are going to Enzo Ferrari's favorite restaurant. So it just had a combination of really interesting things that we felt like fewer people maybe had been there than had been to Rome or Naples or some of these, even Sicily. So that's why we chose it.
When you were designing this tour, did you have any specific customers in mind, any regulars that you thought, oh, this seems right up their alley?
It wasn't any specific people, but it was definitely like an archetype of our customers. The neighborhood we're in Austin, Westlake Hills, a lot of those people are big travelers. They're in Europe a lot. A lot of them had lived in New York or California or other places where they had certainly had, been to restaurants that are owned by Italians who had immigrated to the country and were still running it as a family. So it was generally the whole market of those foodies in Austin that love us, that we had in mind. And to be honest, a lot of times when I create things, I'm really just creating what I want to exist. I worked for Richard Branson for 5 years, and I started the cruise line Virgin Voyages. That was my project, but it was really just a cruise line that I wanted to be on. I felt like there was a hole in the market. And the same thing with Baldinucci Pizza Romana. The vision was to create something that sat at the intersection of gourmet and slices. Because most of the time, if you get slices, it's down market. It's late at night, or it's maybe a few. Whenever you wanted gourmet pizza, it was always a 12-inch Neapolitan pizza with a white tablecloth. And you never had that convenience combined with the gourmet toppings and chef-driven combinations and recipes. And that was a white space in the market. And if you can take that and also combine a really well-designed dining room, but still have a fast casual concept, I call what we are fast premium.
I love that.
You can walk into a beautifully designed room, but you order at the counter, and you can have gourmet food, but you can be out in 20 minutes, this was one of those where I had the customer in mind, but I also had myself in mind as the person.
I love that. When I think about your customers too, so what happened when you actually spun it by them? But I have this idea. What do you guys think? What was their response?
It was pretty universal. That is really cool, is their response. And a lot of people can't go because they have kids in school at that time, or they've already planned their travel for a year. But we have a lot of people who are saying, keep me on the list for the other locations. And I think that they trust us. They trust us. We've established a credibility with our brand.
Yeah.
If you want someone to take you to Italy, you're going to trust the Baldinucci family to do that if you live here. And so I think that's what's made it really easy for us.
Yeah.
We're all in there. My brother Sal is the chef, and his wife Patty, and their 3 adult children are in the store all the time, and their partners. So people understand and know, especially the people who are customers of ours, the passion that we put into our food. The side of our box says "from our family to yours," and that's really, really genuine. When you come into our store, it's like walking into our home, literally, because we're all there, and it's the food. One of us is usually eating at the table. It's usually me, but so because of that, it makes it easy for people to say, "Yeah, I want to go to Italy with these guys."
Absolutely. I think about pizzerias doing a lot of different ideas for added revenue streams and partnerships, and this is probably one of the most unique ones that I've come across. Did you guys really look at how can I kind of go outside of the box with our partnerships and with an added revenue stream, or how did that all happen?
Yeah, it really didn't happen starting from the question of how do we market the store. I think it really happened as like this would just be a great thing to do.
Yes.
And then at some point I said, it would be a great thing to do under that brand that we've created.
Yeah.
Versus on its own or some under brand. It was kind of like, no, our, this thing we've created here is actually has a brand that could do this other product and experience that I want to exist. And then it was after that I realized there were all these synergies and benefits for the restaurant business and doing that, which it's very layered. And, I wish I could say that I started from the, what's the greatest promotional thing I could think of for the restaurant business, but that isn't where it came from.
Yeah.
It came from, wouldn't that be cool to put that together? And then, hey, this actually fits really well under this brand,
Could you tell us about some of those synergies and benefits that you have discovered since you came up with this idea?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I think the first and most obvious one is that, we did pick up a little press and people talk about it, and we're going to put a poster in the window and social media. And I think what it does is it establishes some brand equity and brand associations for us immediely. It separates us from other pizza brands.
Yeah.
And that, like very few I've seen Italian restaurants before, like organizing a trip to Italy in partnership with like a travel agency a couple of times, but there's not a lot of people doing it. And we're going, the founders, we're going to be on the trip.
Yeah.
Me, my brother Sal, Patricia, and we'll probably always have a Baldinucci family member on those trips. We'll probably do 5 a year. But there's a lot of us. So
yeah.
And but so I think the way people think about who we are and what we do is the first impact. It's a conversation piece, so I think it helps both with brand awareness and brand equity. It's like, they're the guys that take you to Italy. It establishes some brand authority. Obviously, we have the opportunity to take employees or managers at some point, which really helps with retention, training, just recruiting in general. We also can think about the content that we're going to create while we're there is going to be amazing. Yeah. And so, we're going to be streaming the trip into Instagram, and our customers are going to see us there, and they're going to see what we're eating and what we're doing. And we're actually going to
some major FOMO.
Yeah. But what we're going to do? We're actually going to create some recipes while we're there and then feature them in the store.
Oh, I love that.
When we talk about literally connecting our customers to Italy, right? You're going to see it. You're going to see us there. You're going to see us creating a pizza with a chef, and then you're going to see it in the store. And that's very powerful. And, I can't think of, that's us bringing Italy back to you in a very tangible way, almost like you pulled it out of the screen, right? You're watching this travel channel, you're pulling it out. And so that's pretty exciting from a product perspective, but it's also exciting from a marketing perspective. And then we might start to take some of our customers on these trips, randomly from our loyalty program. And, win a trip to Italy is also just another great marketing benefit. So there's a lot of benefits all the way around that hit everything from HR to product to marketing to brand. So.
It's such a cool program. I love it. But we can't not talk about Roman pizza while we have you on here, because Roman is definitely having a moment. Here's the hardest part. We predicted Roman having this moment in America a long time ago, and then the pandemic happened. And then but now you're seeing like that Roman it has legs. It is growing across the US. So can you speak a little bit about, that love for your Roman style and what you see with it nationally?
Yeah, I think it's having a moment for a few reasons. I think we're going to start to see just slices having more of a moment. I mean, think about the last time we saw a real slice trend in the US was the malls, was the Sbarros in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
Unless you were in a highly densely populated city, slices have been forgotten, airports and malls. And that's part of that shift that I talked about, which was everyone going to the Neapolitan pizza, the brick oven. And it's wonderful. And I love a Neapolitan pizza, but I miss my variety. I miss the variety of a slice shop. And you're seeing some of these slice chains expand, you know. And so I think that's part of it, is the variety that's inherent in pizza al taglio. I think also Americans are always looking for the next thing in pizza. You know, Detroit had its moment, and you've seen some chains grow with that. So I think it's just natural that people are on the look for the next trend, and Roman's one that hasn't been discovered yet. The other thing that's great about it is it's so much lighter and airier than some of these other pan pizzas. And people, you know, do care about blood sugar and density and not feeling as heavy. And the thing I personally love most about Roman is that fact that you eat pizza, and our flour is imported from Italy. We use a Caputo. We use a starter or a biga. You know, it goes through a long fermentation process. All the things that produce that really light crust. Yeah. We're able to do this because my brother's been making pizza dough since he was literally 7 years old. So like our parents put us to work, as any good immigrants do, put their kids to work, cheap labor. But you know, he's always been making dough. So he's a real dough expert. And he spent a year perfecting this dough, a year in here in Austin in my kitchen. And so there's been a lot of love into it, but as a result, he's got the best Roman style dough that I've tried in the US. And we fly around. I go to all the ones in New York every summer, Chicago, LA, Miami. And my brother's Roman dough is by far the best. People call it crunchy clouds. I love that. You get the best of both worlds. You get the lightness of a Neapolitan, but the cell structure is strong enough to support complex topping combinations, like our lasagna, or our even heavier ones, like our chicken parm, or our fig and arugula. And so it allows us to get really creative. You could never put those topping combinations on a Neapolitan. It would be too heavy. It would fall apart. So from that perspective, it's very unique. And people love it. Once they discover it, they kind of get hooked on it. So I did.
Yeah, I love Roman.
Yeah, the other thing I'll say is that there's, because it enables creativity, because you have all these slice varieties, you know, I think the market is also always looking for more authenticity and creativity and higher quality ingredients. There's just been a trend towards that. And I think the new Roman, because Roman itself, by the way, isn't that popular even in Italy. This is a recent thing. Gabriel Baldinucci is really popularized it from Italy. Before then, it was just something you got at the bakeries. And so as a category, Roman is relatively new, even in Italy. And that's why we haven't had it here. The Neapolitan came in 1905 with Lombardi's, and then that evolved into a bigger New York pizza, a slightly bigger, thicker, with patsies and introducing slices. But Roman came later, and there's a great Netflix Chef's Table episode about Bonci.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Chef's Table Season 2, Episode 2. That episode came out 4 weeks after we opened. And,
wow.
You know, I was worried they were going to call it Pizza al Taglio, which I didn't want to do. We called it Pizza Romana because I thought Americans would be challenged. And Americans think in regions, right?
Yeah.
Roman style is something they're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
When the episode came out, they called it Roman style pizza, or Pizza Romana. So I was very excited. We couldn't have timed that any better. And then the Washington Post released their national directory of best pizza places by style. I'm not 6 months or a year after we opened, and we were in there for our Roman and our New York, but Roman was a category in there. And we were excited to see that as well. So we do think we're on the front end of a trend here.
Absolutely.
To kind of connect the pizza style and the traveling, do you ever plan to do a trip to Rome?
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're gonna do Rome. We're gonna do Sicily, Tuscany. We're gonna do Piedmont. Yeah, we're gonna hit about 5 or 6 regions, and ideally we'd have at least one group going to each of those regions. We're gonna keep the group small, you know, under 20, probably maybe even around 15. Right now, our first one's up to 18, but we probably won't go all the way to 18, just because it's a different experience if it gets too big, and we want to
absolutely
just keep it this highly curated special things that feels like a family outing, or with a group of friends that are taking a small trip together to Italy to, you know, a bucket list trip, really, when you think about it.
So it sounds like the first trip is pretty filled up. When would you start new trips?
Well, we do have some spots left in the first one still. We just announced it recently. Um, and we're going to 3 Michelin star restaurants.
Wow.
But we're going to the markets in Bologna. We're going to walk it with a chef and get a stuffed pasta making class for stuffed pastas in particular. We're going truffle hunting. It's going to be amazing. We'll probably introduce another one maybe right after that trip. We'll introduce 2027. So we'll probably redo this one and we'll add a new region next year, is my guess.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The question I have for you with that is, what kind of meter do you have on whether these tours will be a success? How are you kind of gauging how these tours work for you?
Do you want my like corporate guy hat, or do you
You
want
can whatever you want. You can put on your sentimental hat or your corporate guy hat, whichever, or both, maybe.
if a small group of people come on it, it breaks even. It's a massive win. It's a massive win for all the reasons I mentioned before. You know, what it does for us on the content front, on the brand front. And look, we're going to learn while we're there. We're going to meet the chefs. We're going to be walking the markets. I haven't talked about the educational component for us, as owners, right? As operators.
For sure.
So if we can just go over there with a group of customers, how valuable is that for a week and do this culinary food tour of learning? And then be able to stream that and talk about it. So that's a success. If my corporate hat, I'm going to think about things like, how does it move our brand awareness, our brand equity? Does it increase people signing up for our loyalty program because they might win a trip? What does it do for retention in the store? There are a bunch of, corporate metrics that will fall out of that. But like I said, I don't care. If we just went and all it did was give us great content and a great learning experience that enriches our brand as operators and founders, us going through that experience with customers, that just enriches the whole soul and culture of the company. It affects the culture of the company in a very positive way. And their customers seeing the poster up there and asking us, how was the trip? Because they know us from the store. How was the, tell us about it. I saw your post. Think about what it does for a relationship with someone who comes in regularly to have the conversation with us, right? Just to hear the stories.
Those connections.
Creates connection. We're connecting over the stories, right? It brings the brand to life in a new way, right? It's experiential even for the people hearing the story that didn't go, right?
I love that. It's so beautiful. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you is about, introducing your style into the Austin market. How receptive, obviously Austin like gravitated towards it. What are they gravitating towards? So, are there certain toppings, certain things that you're doing that they are just in love with?
Well, it's interesting. I really felt like Austin was a great market for this. And I moved here. I called my brother Sal, who was just finished selling a restaurant in New York with his wife, Patty. And I said, you guys need to get down here. This place is exploding. This was 2019. I first took my first trip down here, and I had to drive a half an hour to get a slice at Home Slice. And I saw lots of shopping centers that had no pizza place at all, busy shopping centers.
Yeah.
People forget Austin 2026, the pizza options are different than they were in 2019. 2019, there were a lot fewer options. And the same is true of sushi and other things, right? So I kind of saw a market that had a ton of opportunity, lots of cranes and new skyscrapers going up, and lots of people moving in from places like New York and California and other cities in Florida where they had expectations of their pizza and they had things they wanted and they were used to. And there just wasn't a lot of Italian Americans that had immigrated to Texas. It was all the Germans coming in and the Czech and the Mexicans. So you have tacos and barbecue as a result of that. And so there just wasn't a lot of second and third generation Italian Americans. So I thought it was a great pizza market in general, not even Roman. And then the Roman thing was really a combination of, I think, more demand for artisan food, more demand, the opportunity I saw to like bring back the slice, the return of the slice, but in a different format, a very high-end gourmet format. Our dining room was designed by Gensler. This is it behind us. I wanted to create a premium experience, but with slices. And you'll often see this in like patisserie or bakeries. You'll get this jewelry store vibe, right? That's very high-end, sometimes cafes. And so I was going for that, right? I put us in a category that I call fast premium. So in Austin, the brands that I think of that are also in that category are brands like Swedish Hill Bakery or Flower Child.
Flower Child?
Yeah, you're going in for a fast casual, but it doesn't feel like fast casual because there's plants and they put more money in the decorations and the food is higher quality. You know, Taco Deli is a great example. They're very thoughtful about where they source their ingredients from and they let you know it. And so you don't have that guilt that you will sometimes have with fast casual when there's plastic booths where you're kind of reminded visually that it grew out of fast food and that you're somehow not treating yourself right. That all goes away with fast premium. You know, it's restaurant quality food, restaurant quality design, just in an order at the counter format that I think is for me the most exciting place to be in the restaurant industry right now. And the variations of that are like healthy fast casual or fast healthy. And I think fast premium, fast gourmet is its own category. I sometimes describe us as a small format Italy also. And then someone else called us a designer pizza place because of the design aspect. But, you know, when you combine those things, when you combine great design with, you know, some of our slices, like our fig and arugula with caramelized onions, roasted red peppers, balsamic glaze, or our sausage and honey with mascarpone, serrano peppers and basil, or our puttanesca slice now with capers, Kalamata olives, roasted San Marzano tomatoes and olive oil, crispy garlic toasted breadcrumbs. We make gourmet food. We put it on a slice. And you can taste it. You know, we've got Stag's Leap Artemis wine on the shelf. People will come in, buy a $90 bottle of wine and have some slices, and it feels completely right when you're eating our pizza. Got our quattro funghi with 4 types of mushrooms, hand-whipped Belgio Sottogoto truffle oil. It's a journey.
It's amazing. You're making me hungry.
So it's the combination of those things. I think that the Austin foodies plus the transplants, I just felt, and the market we opened in Westlake Hills, I just felt like they would really appreciate this. And it would be, for many people, a discovery of a new type of pizza. I have to say, we debated because I didn't want to include the New York style pizza on our menu. And Sal and Patty did, and we argued about this. And they won out. We said, okay, we're going to have 2 product lines, Roman and New York. And I'm glad that they pushed me on that because we have a lot of kids come in. They just want the New York cheese. We have a lot of people who just want some, and we are known for our New York pizza in Austin. We are, you know, I'm biased, of course. I'll call us the best New York pizza in Austin. We were included in the Washington Post, you know, only 4. But some people come to us just for that. And a lot of people come in and they say, hey, what is this Roman pizza? And the New York becomes a gateway to this other product line. So they work together well, very nicely.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for hopping onto the podcast with us. I've learned so much about your business, and I think you're doing really fun things there in Austin, and I can't wait to continue to follow you guys.
Well, you got to come down so I can host you for a pizza tasting.
Yes, I'm trying to get there this winter. That's going to be, you know, I live in Louisville, Kentucky. Austin is going to be a great winter spot.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, just make sure you show up hungry.
Exactly. I will do. Well, thanks so much. All right. Have a great tour.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.